Welcome back. Now you've completed phase 1 and are ready to actually look into data and begin phase 2. In phase 2, or exploring and discovering, it involves digging deeper into our data. You have a lot of DRA data available to you and your team. As a team, you'll want to, as was discussed, just decide on a plan for how you're going to go about viewing the actual data. Phase 2 is where we start looking at what we have available. So there are a lot of tools with the DRA that you can refer to. You've got information for your individual students. You've got those class profiles, which become, very useful as an overall view of how your class is doing. As well, all of this information has now been compiled and housed in Dossier. Do know that we're still learning a lot more about Dossier, and we'll be collecting some feedback as the year progresses as to, additional ways that we might want to view or have this DRA data presented in Dossier. But for now, you can certainly reference it in ways that it is meaningful to you. Just so you know too, admin who have sort of an overall access in Dossier, they will be able to share the data on the screen or in your team that looks at your whole school, all grades, just kind of the overall data. And that can be a very useful way to start, depending on how your team wishes to go about viewing the data. And then as a teacher, you will have more specific information that you can dig into when the timing is right. You'll be able to see information for your class, but you'll also be able to eventually dig into individual student information when the time comes. But just please know that as you begin engaging in these school level big picture conversations, that it's really just very, very important first to be truly sensitive to this being a trusted space. It's free of blame, free of judgment. It is about being responsive to the needs of our learners. So that trusted space has to be established, in phase 1 before you're ready to really dig into the actual data in phase 2. And some guiding questions here that you might want to think about is, what stands out to you when you review the data? What trends or patterns can you identify? Does anything surprise you? Is anything different, than what you assumed or what you predicted? Or are there any ahas? Is there anything that you maybe don't see represented in the data? That's also important and worth considering. And remembering from the overview in the previous section that phase 2 is going to take a while. You're going to want to, make that data visible, look at it from various lenses and perspectives, and really dig into it while using these questions as a guide. So when you are ready, you can pause this section and then you'll want to move into the next, in which Sandra is going to engage in a possible way of looking into the DRA data as an example.